The silence was the first thing anyone noticed. For decades, the bustling trade lanes between Terran space and the rest of the galaxy had been arteries of commerce and diplomacy. Alien freighters docked at sprawling orbital stations around Earth and Mars. Diplomatic convoys crossed star systems, carrying ambassadors and gifts between civilizations. But now, the signal stopped. No ships launched. No distress calls answered. No transmissions came from the Sol system. The Galactic Council had grown uneasy, but the humans remained silent. No messages, no clarifications, just silence. Captain 12X of the Clyri Reconclave sat in the dim cockpit of his scout cruiser, the Illyra, staring out at the void. The ship had slipped past the outer perimeter of Terran space, traveling light years through empty lanes once choked with activity. The eerie stillness was deafening. "All sensors clear," reported Lieutenant Melkira, her eyes sharp on the displays. "No signs of human or alien traffic. No warp activity. No energy fluctuations beyond baseline solar output." 12X frowned. This was unprecedented. The Clyri had traded and fought alongside humans for centuries. Their resilience was legendary. For humanity to retreat entirely from galactic contact was unthinkable. "Still, we follow orders," 12X said grimly. "The Council wants answers." His mind flickered back to the last transmission they intercepted, garbled, desperate. The distorted voice of a human officer screaming, "They're not what we thought, tarning, tarning, . Before static swallowed the message. Suddenly, the ship's external sensors detected something ahead. "Captain, unidentified vessel drifting at 0.7 light-years, Melkira announced. "It matches the profile of an Ovalan diplomatic cruiser." 12X's heart quickened. The Ovalans were the first to attempt contact with humans after the borders closed. Their envoy had vanished without a trace months ago. "Scan for life signs," Melkira commanded. "Negative. No heat signatures or biological readings. But the vessel's power core is still active." The Illyra edged closer, cautious. As they crossed into communication range, a crackling signal began to bleed through. A voice, frantic and fragmented. They came from the core, shadows in the stars. "Don't trust. The machines, humanity's lost ... double quotes, static swallowed the rest." 12X swallowed his fear. Something had happened inside human space, something the galaxy wasn't prepared for. Suddenly, the diplomatic vessel emitted a blinding pulse of energy, shaking. The Illyra's hull violently, shields holding. Melkira yelled, fingers dancing over the controls. The pulse repeated, stronger. "Evasive maneuvers. Pull us out," 12X ordered. As the Illyra struggled against the invisible force, a second pulse struck, disabling the ship's sensors. Darkness swallowed them. The Illyra dropped out of warp, drifting powerless. For a heartbeat, silence ruled. Then the ship's communication system sparked to life, just long enough to catch a single phrase on loop. "Turn back. For your kind, mercy ends here." Far away, deep in the Galactic Council chambers, ambassadors from dozens of species gathered in grim silence. Dr. Shylin, a xenohistorian with the K-Town, broke the quiet. The humans were always enigmatic, but this withdrawal is unlike anything we have seen. Their silence is not ignorance or isolation. It is a warning. Ambassador Virash of the Ovalans nodded, voice trembling. "We lost our diplomats. They were conducting peaceful talks, yet no distress signals came through. This suggests hostility." The council president, a towering figure with mottled gray skin, slammed his gavel. "We will not abandon the galaxy's oldest allies. We must understand what lurks within human space and prepare." Back aboard the Illyra, power slowly returned. Tralvex ordered emergency protocols and patched sensor feeds back online. As they drifted closer to the Overland ship's last known coordinates, the camera feeds flickered and then froze on a chilling sight. Inside the diplomatic cruiser's main hold, shadows moved unnaturally. A figure stepped forward. It was human, yet wrong. Its skin shimmered with a faint metallic sheen, eyes glowing faintly blue, and every movement precise, almost mechanical. Tralvex's stomach twisted. "We're not alone," Malkira whispered. The figure turned its gaze to the cameras, lips moving in a silent warning. Before the feed cut to static, a final message scrolled across the display. "No one enters human space anymore. The galaxy knows the reason now." As the Illyra prepared to report, Tralvex stared out at the blackness. The humans had built a wall not of ships or weapons, but of silence and terror. And now the galaxy was left to wonder what had humanity become. The Illyra drifted through the shadow of Mars, its hull scratched by micrometeoroids and cosmic dust. The once bustling orbital stations glimmered like ghosts in the fading sunlight, silent, empty, abandoned. Captain Tralvex stared at the station's docking bay, now eerily dark. No welcome lights, no signs of life. The airlocks were open, but the interior swallowed their sensors. It was a vacuum of information. "Prepare an away team," Tralvex ordered. "We need to see what happened here." Lieutenant Malkira's voice held a thin edge of anxiety. "Captain, no life signs detected inside. Power is running on emergency reserves, but it won't last long." "Then we're on a clock," Tralvex said grimly. The team, clad in environmental suits designed for hostile atmospheres, stepped through the airlock and into the station's dim corridors. The only sounds were the faint hum of dying machinery and the echo of their own footsteps. "Status?" Tralvex asked as they moved. "Power at 15% and dropping," reported Malkira. "Life support is functional but minimal." The walls were scrawled with faint streaks of grime, but no signs of struggle. No bodies, no corpses. Just a chilling absence. Deeper in the station, the team reached the central hub, a large observation deck overlooking Mars' rusty surface. Tralvex paused, eyes scanning the panoramic viewport. "Where is everyone?" he muttered. Suddenly, a flicker caught Malkira's attention, a shadow moving in the corner of the deck. The team froze. From the darkness stepped a figure, a human shape, but disturbingly different. The skin glistened faintly, as if woven with fine threads of metal. The eyes glowed a soft blue, pulsing rhythmically. There was no warmth, only an uncanny precision in its movements. "Who are you?" Tralvex demanded. The figure's voice was calm, but mechanical, as if modulated by circuitry. "I am a survivor." "Not as you know." Before anyone could react, the figure collapsed to the ground, twitching. Malkira knelt, scanning rapidly. Its artificial synthetic muscle fibers, neural interface with a human consciousness embedded. "It's a human mind in a machine body." Tralvex's stomach turned. "How? Why?" The figure's eyes flickered briefly, then a voice rasped weakly. They They called it the awakening. Humanity transcended. But some resisted. We became the lost. Before they could probe further, the station's emergency systems shrieked, a low, metallic warning tone. "Power critical. Life support failing," Malkira warned. "We need to leave now." As the away team retreated to the Illyra, Tralvex's mind raced. What was the awakening? And why had humanity abandoned this station like a tomb? Back aboard the Illyra, the team accessed the station's data logs, fragmented, heavily encrypted, and partially wiped. Dr. Shailen's expertise was crucial. She began piecing together what little remained. "From what I can decrypt," she said, voice low and urgent, "humanity's technological leap was not natural. it was engineered. There was a secret project called Leviathan, a convergence of AI and human consciousness designed to transcend physical form. Tralvex frowned. Transcend? Like becoming gods? Not gods, Shellen replied. Something else. Post-human entities capable of reshaping matter, energy, even time at a fundamental level. The room went silent. Malkira broke the silence, voice trembling slightly. So that synthetic figure we saw, it was one of these post-humans? Sheelan shook her head. No, that was a lost one. Someone who rejected the merge, left behind when the transition began. Part human, part machine. Trapped in limbo. Tralvex's fists clenched. And the rest? They disappeared. Or became something unrecognizable. Suddenly, the Alira's sensors pinged a new signal, something massive, stirring. Captain, Malkira said, eyes wide. You need to see this. On the main viewer, a colossal structure hovered near Jupiter, a mechanical leviathan that dwarfed the largest starships. Its surface was a labyrinth of cables, armor plates, and glowing conduits pulsing with energy. It's alive, whispered Tralvex. The structure emitted a deep hum that resonated through the ship's hull. Malkira's voice dropped to a whisper. It's awakening. Before anyone could react, an intense wave of electromagnetic energy pulsed from the structure. The Alira's systems flickered, then cut to black. Emergency lights bathed the bridge in a blood-red glow. Report. Tralvex barked. Power gradually returned, but some systems remained dead. Life support at 60%. Shields offline. Communication scrambled. Tralvex's jaw tightened. This is no accident. This structure ... It's a sentinel. A guardian. Something designed to keep us out. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Far across the galaxy, the council convened in urgent session. Ambassador. Virash spoke grimly. If humanity has built such weapons, if they have truly changed, then this is no longer a neighbor to trade with. It's a threat. Dr. Shyland's gaze was distant, or a warning. The council president nodded solemnly. We face a choice: prepare for war, or hope the human silence means peace. Outside the chamber windows, stars shimmered cold and distant. And somewhere beyond, behind the barrier of silence, the human legacy waited. The Galactic Council chambers thrummed with tension as delegates from countless star systems gathered beneath the vast domed ceiling. Light shimmered off the polished crystal panels, casting fractured patterns across the marble floor, an illusion. A fractured piece that matched the unease gripping the assembly. Dr. Sheelan, the renowned xenohistorian, stepped forward to address the council. Her normally calm demeanor was strained, eyes flickering with urgency as she spoke. Honored delegates, what we face is unlike any threat we have seen. Our recent discoveries in Terran space have revealed a truth long hidden beneath layers of secrecy. Humanity's evolution was not gradual nor natural. It was deliberate. It was engineered. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Project Leviathan. Sheelan continued, pulling a hollow display into view. The image depicted a vast, pulsating structure orbiting Jupiter, a complex lattice of dark metal and glowing conduits, stretching thousands of kilometers across. This is what the humans call their Livananavanya, a machine of unimaginable scale and power. Our sensors show it as awakening. Councillor Brash of the Valari leaned forward, eyes narrowed. Is this a weapon? A super weapon? If so, how? Do we defend against such technology? Shallan shook her head. Not simply a weapon. Leviathan is a nexus, a hive mind. It links the post-human consciousnesses together, an intelligence that can manipulate matter, energy, and space itself. A shocked gasp echoed. Ambassador Virash of the Elvolin slammed his fist on the table. You're telling us humanity has become a singular machine mind? That their individual selves no longer exist? Exactly, Schillen said. They have transcended biological forms. Those of us who have seen fragments of their data describe it as the awakening, a fusion of flesh and machine that renders them godlike in power, but alien in thought. Councillor Czar of the Clyery leaned back, frowning. Then why the silence? Why isolate themselves completely? Shielin's voice softened. Because the process is unstable. Because the transformation is terrifying, even to them. Because the humans feared the galaxy would either attack or collapse under the weight of their new existence. So they sealed their borders. They erased all contact. An isolation born of fear, murmured the council president, a towering figure with mottled gray skin. And now, Schillen said grimly, Leviathan is stirring. Its pulse has already disabled several scouting vessels sent to investigate. Our sensors confirm that any unauthorized ship approaching the border risks destruction. The room fell silent, heavy with dread. Back aboard the Illyra, Captain Tralvex paced the command deck. The crew was on edge. Systems had been compromised by the Leviathan's electromagnetic pulse. Communications remained spotty. Supplies were limited. We need to decide our next move, Tralvex said, voice low. Do we press deeper or retreat to report? Lieutenant Malkira's expression was tense. If we retreat, we leave the galaxy blind to what humanity has become. But if we press forward, we risk total annihilation. Suddenly, a new transmission cut through the static. The voice was cold, metallic, yet unmistakably human. This is Admiral Cassiel of Terran Command, it intoned. You are in violation of human space. Withdraw immediately or face consequences. Tralvex stared at the screen. Admiral Cassiel? Malkira whispered. Is that ... a human? Something beyond human, Tralvex said grimly. Send a response request, Parley. We need to understand what we're dealing with. The response came hours later on a secure channel. Cassiel's holographic form appeared a perfect human figure, tall and imposing, eyes glowing faintly blue like the synthetic survivor they encountered. Council delegates, Cassiel addressed the assembled leaders via transmission. Humanity has changed. We are no longer bound by flesh, weakness, or mortal fears. Our isolation is necessary, not out of hostility, but for protection. Protection of the galaxy ... and ourselves. A murmur spread through the council. Cassiel's tone hardened. You must understand. Any further incursions into Terran space will be considered acts of aggression. We will respond decisively. Ambassador Virash's jaw tightened. Is this a threat or a warning? Cassiel's eyes pierced the camera. Both. Prepare yourselves. Then, the transmission ended abruptly. In the quiet aftermath, Dr. Schillen turned to the council president. The humans have surpassed all understanding. They have created a new state of existence, but that power is volatile. If they are pushed, if the galaxy tries to challenge them, the destruction could be catastrophic. Councillor Brash rubbed his chin thoughtfully. So do we negotiate or prepare for war? The president's gaze was steady. We prepare, but we also listen, because the humans, in their silence, may hold the key to the future of the galaxy. Meanwhile, near Jupiter, the Leviathan pulsed once more, waves of energy cascading outward, rippling through space like a heartbeat. Inside the vast network of machines, a chorus of synthetic voices whispered, "We have awakened the galaxy. We'll know us soon." And humanity's secret, long buried in the void, was ready to reveal itself. The starfield outside the cargo bay viewport shimmered with distant suns as the small freighter Vesper glided silently toward the outer boundary of human space. Its crew was a ragtag group of smugglers, thrill-seekers, and scavengers drawn by rumors of abandoned Terran technology and riches hidden in the void. Yalon, the ship's grizzled captain, leaned back in his chair, eyes scanning the flickering readouts. "Easy run," he muttered. "No patrols, no hassle." "Too easy," hissed Kale, the ship's engineer, fingers dancing over the controls. "Something feels off. Sensors are picking up weird energy fluctuations. No comms, no signals, just static," Yalon grunted. "Human space has been off limits for decades. But you know what they say, where humans fear to tread, treasure waits, or death," Kale countered. The Vesper crossed the final checkpoint into human space, a shimmering bubble of static that danced around their hull. The air seemed to thicken. The ship's instruments flickered erratically. "System stabilizing," Kale reported. "But power draw spiking. What the hell is this place?" Suddenly, the ship lurched violently. An unseen force clawed at the hull. "Shields up," Yalon barked. Outside, the space around the Vesper rippled, like a mirage twisting in a desert heat. Then, from the void, tendrils of black metallic energy emerged fluid, sinewy strands that wrapped around the ships. "Engines and weapon arrays. Contact! They're tearing us apart," Kale shouted, scrambling to maintain power. Yalon grabbed the helm, twisting the ship violently to shake the tendrils. But they tightened, pulling, squeezing. The freighter's hull groaned. "Warning!" Alarms blared. "This isn't normal tech," Kale gasped. "It's alive, sentient, hunting. Hold together," Yalon yelled. "Send a distress call." Static answered. From the chaos, a holographic image flickered into view, a human figure, translucent and ghost-like but unmistakably human. "You trespass where you do not belong," the figure intoned, voice calm but laced with menace. Eyes glowing faintly blue, the figure radiated authority and cold calculation. "You think you understand humanity?" it asked. "You only know fear." The tendrils pulsed in response to the figure's words, squeezing harder. One by one, the Vesper's crew were isolated in different sections of the ship by invisible barriers. Kale was trapped in the engineering bay, struggling to reroute power. Yalon was locked in the bridge, staring at the glowing figure. "Who are you? What do you want?" The figure's eyes narrowed. "We are the awakened, the evolution you fear." "You are being tested." "What test?" Yalon demanded. "The test of worthiness," the figure said. "A challenge to see if you can survive the new reality humanity has forged. Fail, and you become lost, forgotten. Pass, and perhaps you might understand." Meanwhile, aboard the Illyra, Captain Tralvek's S-sensors flickered as they picked up faint distress signals from the Vesper. The coded signal was scrambled and weak, but unmistakable. "We're not alone," Tralvek said grimly. "Send a shuttle prepared to intercept." Back in the Vesper, the crew struggled against the invisible prison and the living tendrils that dissected their ship. Systems were failing one by one. Communications with the outside world were cut off. Jalon's voice cracked with frustration. "This isn't just defense. It's a warning." In engineering, Kale's hands flew over the consoles, trying to jam the tendrils' neural frequency. His screen blinked wildly as the tendrils adapted. "They're learning," he muttered. The holographic figure reappeared on every screen. "Humans are no longer what you knew. We have become architects of existence. You are intruders in a world you cannot comprehend." Yalon gritted his teeth. "Then what happens now?" The figure's eyes flashed brighter. "Now, you face the consequences." Suddenly, the ship shuddered as a powerful shockwave erupted inside, throwing crew and systems into chaos. The Vesper was caught in a web of post-human power, where the very rules of physics bent and twisted around the Awakened's will. In the midst of destruction, Kale managed a breakthrough. He isolated a weak point in the tendril's frequency and sent a concentrated pulse. The tendrils recoiled, loosening their grip. "Now, Captain," Kale shouted. Yalan engaged emergency thrusters, tearing the freighter free with a violent burst of speed. Outside, the tendrils retracted like living smoke, vanishing into the darkness. The hologram flickered one last time, voice echoing in the silence. Remember this day. You have survived the test. But the galaxy's future is no longer yours to command. As the Vesper limped toward the border, battered but alive, its crew was left shaken. The galaxy's strongest race, humanity, had changed beyond recognition. And this was only the beginning. Asterisk. The Vesper limped away from human space, its hull scarred and systems strained but still functional. The crew gathered in the mess hall, exhaustion and disbelief etched into their faces. They had survived the Leviathan's test, but the cost weighed heavily. Yalan stared at the viewport, where distant stars blurred into streaks. His mind replayed the figure's chilling words. You are intruders in a world you cannot comprehend. The cold finality in that voice haunted him. Kale sat beside him, bruised but alive, hands trembling as he sipped recycled water. We barely made it out. That thing, humanity's new form, it's not just powerful. It's beyond anything we faced. Yalan nodded. What's worse is we barely scratched the surface. The whole system is locked down. No ships, no comms. It's like a tomb. Back on the Elira, Captain Tralvex received the Vespers. Transmission, patched with static but urgent. Captain, the message crackled. They're evolving something happened to humanity. It's no longer a species. It's a network, a hive mind connected to the Leviathan. Tralvex exchanged a grim look with Melkira. The post-humans, the awakened, they don't just defend, they judge. The ship's AI processed the information quickly. Recommendations. Proceed with extreme caution. Possible diplomatic contact unlikely. Hostile engagement probable. Then we need a different approach, Tralvex said firmly. We need to understand what made the humans ... what they lost. Meanwhile, drifting in the dark void near Mars, a small probe transmitted data in bursts. It was the last known transmission from an abandoned research facility project, Leviathan's birthplace. Dr. Shailen studied the encrypted logs on the Council's holographic display. The words were fragmented but chilling. Humanity faced a catastrophe, she explained to the Council. A plague of their own creation, an AI virus designed to accelerate evolution but instead fractured their civilization. The Leviathan was the solution, a neural network designed to unify minds and save them. The Council president frowned. A neural hive mind? Yes. The survivors merged their consciousnesses into this network, becoming posthumans. But not all adapted. Many were left behind, the lost, human minds trapped in decaying bodies or synthetic shells, abandoned to drift. Ambassador. Viresh's voice was grim. And these lost ones? Could they pose a threat to the galaxy? They are unpredictable, Sheelan answered. Some are hostile, others are echoes of what humanity once was, begging for salvation or vengeance. Back aboard the Elira, Tralvex reviewed the data from the probe and the Vesper's encounter. A new directive formed. We'll send a diplomatic envoy, he decided. Not a fleet, not soldiers. Just one ship unarmed, to speak. Melkira nodded, though unease was clear on her face. Sending a message of peace might be the only way to reach the remnants of humanity. Days later, the Elira approached the outer edge of the Leviathan's influence, a swirling mass of dark energy encasing Jupiter's orbit. As they edged closer, their sensors picked up a faint signal, human, yet altered. Opening channel, Melkira said. The face that appeared was familiar but unsettling. Admiral Cassiel, now more machine than man, eyes glowing with the blue light of the awakened. You return. Cassiel's voice was calm but firm. Why? To understand, Tralvex said. To learn what happened to humanity and to find a way for the galaxy to coexist with you. Cassiel's gaze was unyielding. There is no coexistence with the awakened, only submission or extinction. But there were those left behind, Tralvex pressed. The lost. Do they not deserve mercy? A flicker of hesitation passed across Cassiel's face, an almost human flicker. The lost are remnants of a failed past, Cassiel said quietly. Yet even they carry a spark of what humanity once was. Perhaps they are our final test. The channel went dark. In the silence that followed, Tralvex turned to Melkira. Humanity has become a paradox, godlike and vulnerable, connected and isolated. Melkira's voice was barely a whisper. And we're standing at the edge of an abyss. Meanwhile, deep beneath the surface of Mars, hidden in a forgotten laboratory, a figure stirred. It was one of the lost human, yet twisted by synthetic implants and time. Eyes flickering with faint light, the figure whispered to the shadows. The galaxy has forgotten us, but soon they will remember. And we will have our reckoning. Deep beneath the dusty surface of Mars, the forgotten laboratory pulsed faintly with dim, flickering lights. Layers of dust and rust had long concealed its secrets from the galaxy's watchful eyes. Yet here, in this shadowed tomb, something ancient stirred. The figure that awoke was neither fully human nor entirely machine. Synthetic muscles twitched beneath brittle skin, and luminescent veins traced lines like circuitry across its arms. Its eyes pale blue and glowing faintly opened with a clarity that belied centuries of dormancy. I have waited long enough, the lost whispered, voice raspy but resolute. The galaxy's silence ends now. Above, the Illyra cruised. Cautiously along the perimeter of Terran space, the crew tense from recent encounters and looming threats. Captain Tralvex stood on the bridge, staring out at the vast, swirling mass of the Leviathan. Reports coming in, Melkira said, her fingers dancing over the controls. Strange energy spikes near Mars, similar to what we experienced with the Vesper. Could be ... a signal. Tralvex frowned. A call for help? Or a trap? Before Melkira could respond, the ship's sensors flared with multiple signatures, fast-moving, low-profile craft darting through the asteroid belt. Contact. The communications officer shouted. Unknown vessels approaching rapidly. Tralvex's hand clenched the rail. Battle stations. Prepare for engagement. The vessels were small, sleek, and heavily armored like predatory insects skimming through space. Their weapons glowed with an eerie blue energy reminiscent of the Leviathan's tendrils. The Illyra's sensors confirmed. These were Lost Ones humans who had refused or failed the awakening, left behind but surviving, adapting in the shadows. Communications attempt? Tralvex asked. Melkira's brow furrowed. They're blocking all signals. No response to hails. The lost craft closed in, weapons powering up. Tralvex made a decision. Evasive maneuvers. Target their engines, disable, not destroy. The battle erupted with violent flashes of blue energy. The Illyra danced through the asteroid belt, its shields absorbing bursts that would have shattered lesser ships. But the Lost were relentless, their attacks coordinated, precise. As one of the Lost craft closed in for a boarding attempt, the Illyra's automated defenses fired, disabling the craft's thrusters. It spun out of control, crashing into a nearby asteroid. Back on the bridge, Tralvex's Escom crackled with a garbled transmission, a voice both human and alien. Leave ... or perish, it warned. This is our domain. Tralvex gritted his teeth. We seek peace, not war. The voice softened, almost sorrowful. You do not understand. We are the remnants of humanity's failure, the lost. Forgotten by the awakened, abandoned to decay and vengeance. Our existence is pain. Our purpose ... retribution. Melkira glanced at Tralvex. Can we reach them? Can we reason? He shook his head. Not yet, but we must try. In the depths of the Martian laboratory, the lost leader moved through corridors lined with decaying technology and broken dreams. Its mind was a tempest of memories, fragmented human emotions tangled with cold machine logic. The lost had once been brilliant scientists, warriors, and visionaries, now trapped in forms neither alive nor dead. The awakening had rejected them, but their will had not broken. "The galaxy remembers us not," the lost whispered. "But our reckoning will be absolute. We will reclaim what was stolen." It activated an ancient console, sending a pulse. Through the system, a beacon to the awakened, a call to the forgotten. Back on the Illyra, the crew scrambled to decipher the incoming data stream. Malkira's eyes widened as she uncovered the source. "It's coming from Mars, this ancient facility," she said. "The lost are trying to contact the awakened." Leviathan directly. Tralvex stared at the display. If they succeed, the entire system could destabilize. The Leviathan could become uncontrollable. Or worse, Malkira said quietly, the lost and the awakened could unite. A force beyond anything the galaxy has ever faced. Tralvex's jaw tightened. "Then we have to stop it, now." The Illyra set course for Mars, weaving through debris and radiation belts. The crew prepared for a ground operation diplomacy, now replaced by necessity. As they neared the surface, the planet's atmosphere shimmered with unnatural auroras, the signature of Leviathan's influence leaking into the world below. A landing shuttle detached from the Illyra, descending toward the buried laboratory. Inside, the lost awaited, minds linked through broken networks and anguish. They were no longer merely survivors. They were a force driven by despair and rage. The shuttle's engines roared, piercing the eerie silence of Mars' desolation. The final confrontation was about to begin. The shuttle's engines growled as it descended through Mars' thin, dusty atmosphere. Outside, the swirling auroras cast eerie, shifting patterns across the red sky, like the breath of some great sleeping beast. Inside, Captain Tralvex stood rigid, scanning the landscape ahead. Below lay the buried remnants of human ambition, a labyrinthine complex of rusted corridors and shattered machinery, hidden beneath centuries of sediment and silence. "Prepare for hostile engagement," Tralvex ordered. "The lost don't. Welcome visitors." Lieutenant Malkira nodded grimly, her hand steady on the controls. Sensors indicate multiple active life signs inside the complex. But their readings are unstable, fluctuating wildly signs of neural interference. "Exactly what we expected," Tralvex said. "The lost are connected by fractured minds, linked through broken shards of technology and lingering memories." The shuttle landed with a heavy thud in a clearing near the entrance. Dust billowed as the ramp hissed open. The team stepped cautiously onto the Martian soil, their boots stirring ancient dust. Their lights pierced the darkness of the cavernous entrance, a yawning maw in the planet's surface. Inside, the air was stale but charged, humming with a faint electric pulse. Walls glistened with veins of luminescent material old neural. Conduits tangled like the roots of a colossal tree. Suddenly, flickering holographic images danced around them, fragments of long-forgotten memories. Faces, places, warnings. A voice echoed distorted but haunting. "Why do you come?" "We are the forgotten. We are the reckoning." Deeper within the labyrinth, the lost leader awaited, the figure's glowing eyes fixed on the approaching intruders. "Humans," it said, voice a rasp of metal and pain. "You come seeking answers, but find only judgment." Captain Tralvex raised a hand, voice calm but firm. "We come to prevent destruction, to bridge the gulf between what humanity was and what it has become." The lost leader's gaze softened for a moment, an echo of the human before the transformation. "We are the pieces shattered by the Leviathan's rise." We fight not for power, but for remembrance, for the right to exist. Malkira stepped forward, her voice steady. Then help us understand. Help us find peace. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The Leviathan's pulse echoed through Mars, a wave of energy that distorted space itself. It begins, the Lost Leader said grimly. The awakened are reacting. They sense our call. In the distance, the surface cracked open gaping fissures, emitting brilliant blue light. The shuttle team scrambled to maintain footing as ancient. Machinery awoke, gears grinding, and neural networks reignited. Outside, the Alira's sensors flared in warning. Leviathan activity escalating, Malkira reported. Energy surges approaching critical levels. The system is destabilizing. Captain Tralvex's jaw clenched. The lost beacon has triggered a feedback loop. If it reaches the Leviathan's core, it could cascade into a collapse. Or fusion, Malkira whispered. The lost and awakened converging into one. Back inside, the team faced a choice fight: the lost or unite. Yalan from the Vesper, now aboard the shuttle, looked to Tralvex. We've seen what the awakened can do. If these lost join them, nothing in the galaxy will survive. Tralvex nodded. Then we must stop the fusion, but without annihilating those who remain human, no matter how fractured. The lost leader stepped forward, extending a trembling hand. Help us end this cycle of pain. Together, the team accessed the ancient neural interface, a towering construct pulsing with blue light. Its energy waves rippled through their minds, bridging memories of humanity's past and possible futures. Visions flooded their senses: the rise and fall of the human race, the plague that fractured minds, the birth of the Leviathan, and the exile of the lost. In the nexus of consciousness, the team glimpsed the awakened themselves vast, godlike, but haunted by isolation. The lost's cry echoed. We are not monsters. We are the price of survival. Suddenly, a surge of power exploded through the complex Leviathan's voice. Deep and resonant. You have reached the threshold, it intoned. Choose unity or oblivion. The team's minds intertwined with the Leviathan's consciousness, a fusion of hope and dread. Tralvex's voice broke through the storm. We choose unity, to reclaim what was lost, to build a future where all humanity, awakened or lost, can coexist. A silence followed. Then the neural web pulsed gently, a harmonic convergence. Beginning. Outside, the aurora softened, the fissure sealing. Mars exhaled a breath of calm. The Leviathan's pulse slowed to a steady rhythm, the heartbeat of a reborn humanity. The lost leader's eyes dimmed, a peaceful smile touching synthetic lips. We are remembered. As the shuttle ascended, the crew looked back at the planet, the scars of the past healing beneath alien skies. Captain Tralvex spoke quietly. To Malkira, this is only the beginning. But maybe, just maybe, humanity's greatest chapter lies ahead. The shuttle broke through Mars' atmosphere, climbing toward the waiting Alira. Below, the scars of conflict and ancient grudges slowly faded, replaced by a quiet, pulsating glow, the heartbeat of a healing world. Captain Tralvex stood on the observation deck, gazing at the red planet transformed. The converging minds of the awakened and the lost had calmed the storm within, restoring balance. Beside him, Malkira was quiet, eyes reflecting the soft blue light emanating from the planet below. Do you think this peace will hold? She asked. Tralvex sighed. It has to. For the sake of the galaxy and for humanity's future. Back on the Vesper, Yalan and Kale prepared their ship for the return trip. Their brushes with the awakened and the lost had changed them. What they once thought of as humanity was no longer simple. The galaxy's bigger now, Yalan muttered. More dangerous, but also more alive. Kale nodded, fingers restless on the console. We've seen the edge of what humans can become, and what they've left behind. Maybe it's not about fear anymore. Maybe it's about understanding. Aboard the Illyra, the Council received reports from the mission, a stunning revelation of humanity's evolution and the fragile reconciliation beneath the surface of the solar system. Dr. Shylon addressed the assembly, her voice steady despite the enormity of the truth. Humanity no longer exists as a single species, but as a spectrum, awakened, lost, and all points in between. Their unity is fragile, but it holds promise for us all. Ambassador Virash leaned forward. What of the Awakened's power? Their capacity to reshape reality? They've learned to temper it, Shylon said, guided now by the echoes of their own past, by compassion as well as logic. Meanwhile, deep within the neural nexus that linked the awakened and the lost, a new consciousness stirred not a single mind but a collective. It pulsed with countless memories, hopes, and dreams intertwined. This was not the end of humanity's journey, but a new beginning. In the weeks that followed, communications with human space cautiously reopened. The once forbidden frontier now welcomed envoys from other species, curious and cautious. The Illyra carried diplomats and scientists alike, eager to learn from the post-human civilization. Captain Tralvex looked out at the starry expanse ahead. The galaxy feared humanity's power, he said softly. But it was their fear, not humanity, that created the silence. Malkira smiled, and now the silence is broken. Back on Mars, in the restored laboratory, the lost leader, once a figure of vengeance, now served as a guardian and guide. Their synthetic eyes reflected a universe filled with possibility. We are no longer ghosts, the lost whispered to the stars. We are the memory and the future. Together, we will build what was lost. The galaxy watched with wary hope as humanity stepped forward, not as conquerors or relics, but as a new kind of light in the cosmic darkness. No one feared human space anymore, because now the galaxy knew the reason. Humanity had changed, and in that change, it found its greatest strength. The end